Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What is happening in Pennsylvania? Welcome to the live Sunday edition of the Sean Starr Show. And congratulations, guys. We finally did it. We did it all together. We have absolutely crushed the goal. We have sailed by everybody. As yes, we did it. We have reached the 5,000 subscription threshold. What up, Peter Puck? Congratulations. Yes, congratulations to you, Peter. You've chosen a winner. Congratulations to you, Corey. Have a good day, everybody. And thank you, Vinny Red. Welcome to the Sean Starr Show in the aftermath of the Montreal Canadiens doing something they haven't been able to do not once at any point this season. As Montreal rolls to their fourth consecutive win, dispatching of the Buffalo Sabres on Saturday night in a 4-2 final. As the Montreal Canadiens definitely have Buffalo's number, where the Sabres, as we knew, were kind of hot. They had won 4 in a row in 6 of their last 7 in the aftermath of them giving up 3 goals to the Canadiens in that barn burner of a second period where 5 goals were scored in Buffalo last night. And then Montreal was able to shut out Buffalo in 2 of the 3 periods in a 4-2 final, as Montreal went on to beat the Sabres for the third time and can sweep the season series tomorrow night and continue their push for the wild card. That, my friends, is no joke. The Montreal Canadiens can find themselves that much closer to a wild card spot. Why? Because of what they've been able to accomplish thanks to this 4-game winning streak. As we take a look at the NHL standing this morning, have a look for yourself. You know, it's funny because when we spoke about the Canadiens' playoff chances, and we knew where they were coming out of the Four Nations break, and then they beat Ottawa, and then they shut down Carolina, and then they beat San Jose, and then they went to Buffalo on a Saturday night and doubled up the Sabres in a 4-2 final. And what does that mean? Montreal with 63 points, 1 more than both the Rangers and Flyers, 2 more than the New York Islanders, but who cares about those teams? It's 66 points Detroit, it's 68 points Columbus. The BJs are on a heater. Columbus has won 4 in a row to get them to the top wild card spot. I mean, heck, they're 4 points from catching New Jersey for the 3rd spot in the Metro Division. But Montreal with 63 points, Boston and Ottawa both on 64. So here we go. And what does that mean as it relates to ultimately the wild card? And can the Montreal Canadiens get to a wild card? And, you know, one of the websites I'm fond of using is moneypuck.com. And we can talk about the playoff odds based on the model of moneypuck.com. And let's take a look at that together before I get to your comments on this Sunday morning. As the Montreal Canadiens have a season-high 4-game winning streak, they'll take that to the Bell Center on Monday night as they look to make it 4 consecutive wins over Buffalo. But here it is. The Montreal Canadiens, right now, according to MoneyPuck.com's predictions and their model of the percentage shot of making the playoffs. Montreal is 3 points back of Detroit for the wild card. According to MoneyPuck.com, the Red Wings are at 30.6% chances of making the playoffs. I mean, hell, the New York Islanders, who are behind the Canadiens in the standings currently, have more or less double the percentage shot of making the playoffs than the Canadiens do this morning at 12.6% following the 4-2 win over the Buffalo Sabres last night. So what do you think? Do you have faith that the Montreal Canadiens can make the playoffs this year? And if you do, does that change what you think Ken Hughes and Jeff Gordon should do by the trade deadline? Because it was interesting what Elliot Friedman had brought to the table during the second intermission of last night's contest, where the Montreal Canadiens took a 3-2 lead. And he talked about teams, and we brought this up on the live show yesterday. We spoke about teams like Montreal that are positioned to do some damage or have the potential to do damage with the wild card race. So let me take you back to the standings. Let's take a look at the standings together, okay? Because this is the common thread. Okay, so the Ottawa Senators got healthy. Brady Tkachuk, Shane Pinto were back, and Ottawa picks up a big win. They needed that win. They needed to get back on track. The Detroit Red Wings lost Andrew Kopp, so they've lost back-to-back and still have, for now, a hold of the wild card. The Boston Bruins are dealing with several injuries, including to their stud on defense in Charlie McAvoy. The New York Rangers are selling, and they're hurt. Adam Fox is out. And here are the Montreal Canadiens. Here are the Montreal Canadiens with a 12 or 13% chance of making the playoffs. They've won 4 in a row and have 63 points and are 3 points back. And so what Elliot Friedman basically had said during the second intermission of last night's game was this: we wouldn't be surprised if teams like Montreal wait until maybe Tuesday or Wednesday before pulling the trigger on a deal. Because as we know, when the Canadiens get back to work on Monday, they've got Buffalo. And after that, they don't play again until Thursday night at Edmonton, the night before the trade deadline. And obviously they don't play Friday on deadline day. So in a world in which the Montreal Canadiens play on a Monday and are off Tuesday and Wednesday and then play at Edmonton on Thursday night at 9, it makes sense to think about what other teams are going to be doing and who's going to be the first to strike. And I find it absolutely fascinating to see how Ken Hughes and Jeff Gordon are ultimately going to navigate through these kind of choppy waters now. The team has made it quite clear they are not going away quietly. This team is ready to make a push and ready to send a message. And we saw yesterday, Jake Evans involved, Lane Hudson all over the place. Cole Caulfield on a great feed from Patrick Laine, one-timer city, as Cole Caulfield is on 29 goals. Cole Caulfield, by the way, has the second most road goals scored of any player in the National Hockey League today. Cole Caulfield, of his 29 goals, 20 of them have come on the road. Only Edmonton's Leon Draisaitl has scored more road goals this season than Caulfield on the road. And so milestone night for Cole Caulfield. Patrick Laine, his game is improving. Nick Suzuki continues to be a beast. Lane Hudson definitely needed the Four Nations break. And Jakub Dobeš, little shaky start, but ultimately settled in to pick up a W and keep the train rolling to 4 in a row, a new season high for the Montreal Canadiens, because it was wild. They had won 3 in a row, 4 times over the course of this season, but not getting over that 3-game winning streak hump until they did last night. And now they have a chance to basically sweep the season series with Buffalo. And I think if you're Jeff Gordon, obviously you're still working the phones. If you're Ken Hughes, you're still working all the angles, knowing that you're even more locked in. I think you're even more locked in today if you are Ken Hughes, Jeff Gordon, and trying to maximize the value of certain players. That I can see a world in which you're 3 points out of a wild card spot and you're playing the patient game. You're letting teams come to you. I mean, unfortunately, we identified it during yesterday's episode, the Minnesota Wild, the chance for the Minnesota Wild to maybe make a move and maybe look at Jake Evans, knowing that they were 30th ranked on the PK, knowing that they lost Eriksson Ek for a minute, and understanding that the Wild are up against the cap and there was an opportunity, but they go in a completely different way. They land Gustav Nyquist from the Nashville Predators, right? And then we saw even more moves where the Florida Panthers acquire Seth Jones from the Chicago Blackhawks. Not a coincidence either when we learned that when Utah beat Chicago in a 2-1 final earlier last week, Seth Jones, who's 30 years old, came out and basically said he was frustrated with his team because he saw no progress from game 1 up until that 2-1 loss. So first round picks slide to 2027 based on the conditions of that trade. So the Blackhawks make a big deal. They send Seth Jones to the defending champs in a blockbuster trade on Saturday night. So the deal, if you're interested, it's a 2026 fourth round pick from the Blackhawks for goaltender Spencer Knight, who's 23, a 2026 conditional first rounder. Chicago will retain some of Jones' contract through the year 2030, and it brings his cap hit for the Panthers to about $7 million. But Jones makes 9.5 against the cap. So we talk about salary retention being a very important part of future dealings. And with the Montreal Canadiens being this close to a playoff spot, I think it reaffirms Ken Hughes' strategy of I am not budging off my ask price for Yoel Armia, for Jake Evans, unless you meet every bit of that criteria if you want to extract Jake Evans from me. Because there is a consistent pattern here. Last year, when Ken Hughes was negotiating his way through trade deadline time, and you were wondering about the future of one David Savard, Ken Hughes basically laid the price tag on the ground for David Savard. And it was a first-round pick. And if you didn't meet that ask, You weren't getting David Savard. Well, David Savard is still a Montreal Canadian. So, you look for patterns of consistency, and Ken Hughes has been a very consistent guy. And so if he's talking about he's not moving Evans, Armia for late round draft picks, I think we can hold him at his word that he's not going to move Jake Evans for a third round pick. As we say good morning on this Sunday, 10 minutes into the live stream today. Thank you for being with us. Good morning. Great day to be a Habs fan. Silver Fox 420. Ryerson waiting around 5 o'clock in the morning. Vinny Red, good morning. Congrats on the 5K subs. We hit that yesterday. I'm going to have details on that in a second. Have a good day, everybody. Lots of congrats. Thanks for the belief hitting the 5,000 threshold yesterday. Ricky Martin, nice to have a pop sensation Ricky Martin on the show today. Habs train keeps rolling, 4 in a row. We'll see you next stop, Bell Center Monday night against Buffalo. Looking to make it 4 in a row over the Buffalo Sabres. Ryerson, can I say this before we start? Is there a chance we sign Mitch Marner? The Habs love to mess with the Leafs. Yeah, I mean, how much you want to pay for Mitch Marner? You think Mitch Marner is going to come to Montreal? I would love to get Mitch Marner. I'm a big Mitch Marner guy. Next stop, 10,000K. Thank you, Morgan. So yeah, as promised, right? As promised, let's clean this up now before we move on, okay? Let's clean this up. So we got to 5,000 subs. Thank you. And it came fast and furious. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to do 5 giveaways. I'm going to do 5 giveaways, okay? And it's going to be based on how you're drawn in this giveaway machine. And I'm going to do the giveaways live on Friday. So coming up this week, when we get back to work, Friday, March 7th, I want you to be here live with me. And I'm going to do the draw at random from all our subscribers, okay? And so basically, what's on the line here for the 5 giveaways, knowing that I'm doing this based on basically what I have in my house. That's what I'm giving away. We haven't teamed up with anybody. I have what's in my house to give away. You want a night with my wife? Maybe we can you know what? I'll save that for 10,000 subs. Right, babe? You're good? Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, good. Should a team player. So we've got our caps that we have here. And I'll show you in a second. Let me change this up here very quickly. So I want to show you what we're going to do. Okay. So you're going to have your chance of 1, 2, 3 of these, 3 of those products right there. You have the all black Sean Star Show cap, the 11-ounce ceramic mug with the extra wide handle for those Shrek fingers, and the two-tone cap here. I'm wearing the all black one today. You have the two-tone as well. So you're going to get your choice of any one of those 3 products as our giveaway, as a big thank you for reaching 5,000. I also have 2 drivers, right-handed drivers. We have a PXG Black Ops and a Sim 2 from TaylorMade. So that's what we're looking at in terms of the giveaways. I have 2 right-handed drivers. I will give away to 2 lucky winners. And I have from the prize closet your choice of these 3 products right here. So that's what we're looking at. You can stay tuned for that. And when we reach 10,000, we will do 10 giveaways. And hopefully we'll even have even more from the prize closet to give away. We say good morning to Steph Howard, who's a proud member of the Sean Star Show. $3 a month. You can cancel anytime. That community is growing very strongly as well, as you see here, as we welcome Corey. Corey is a brand new member of the Sean Star Show, where you get custom emojis and you can cancel at any time, and you get the earliest access members-only content through the Sean Star Show. You basically get whatever I put out a day or 2 before everybody else gets to see it. Sean, the biggest moment in sports happened last night in wrestling WWE style. John Cena turned heel and joined The Rock. This is comparable to Hogan joining NWO. Thank you, Steph Howard. Now, I read this this morning. I had read that on where did I see it? Was it on Twitter? I think it was on Twitter this morning, that John Cena sold out to join The Rock. What a Can I get a Pat McAfee clap? This is a brilliant move. This is a brilliant move for a guy who is a household name. Even casual fans of the squared circle know the name John Cena. I know the name John Cena. I've seen him in movies. I've seen him in the squared circle. I've seen him host reality television. And I got to tell you, I love, even though I'm not a big wrestling guy, I love this move by John Cena. It's a refresher. You get to show a different version. You get to market yourself in a different way. And guess what? You probably upset a few people. And you know what happens when people get upset? They're curious. They're curious to see what you're going to do next. What are you all about? Why did you go 180 degrees removed from who you were? Brilliant move by the great John Cena. Ricky Martin. Dobish played well last night. You're right, he did. I find him very, and it's not a criticism of Jakub Dobish, but I found him now to be a little bit more adventurous in his game, certainly in his last few starts. And last night in Buffalo was Dobish's first start in goal since February the 6th. So full credit to the kid, man. That is not easy to do. To go from Feb 6th to March 1st and not play a game at any point in between, as Sam Montembeault had been just this absolute juggernaut in goal, this machine-eating, puck-stopping. I mean, how many games in a row did he started 5 in a row and 7 of the last 8. February 5th, was the last time Jakub Dobish had played a game. And then from that point on, it was Montembeault for 5 consecutive games. And then Dobish is the guy who gets back in and keeps the winning streak and helps the Canadiens reach the highest point of a winning streak they've attained this season, 4 in a row. They host Buffalo tomorrow night, looking to sweep the season series with the last place Sabres, man. Last place Sabres. 53 points. The Canadiens are 10 points clear of Buffalo. The Penguins are 4 points clear of Buffalo, man. Like the Sabres. How many times in my life were the Sabres good? Like, are they ever going to be good again? And I know some long time suffering Buffalo fans. That is tough, man. And I got to say, Rasmus Dahlin, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, they've got some good players in Buffalo. For the life of me, I can't figure out what the hell is wrong in Saberland. Leor, good morning. I love listening to your podcast while I walk the dog for an hour. This is the same rescue dog who had ankle surgery a few months ago and has recovered. Bravo. Pat McAfee clap. Way to go, Leor. I mean, if you're out there walking in this weather this morning for an hour, mad respect. I was up nice and early this morning, as a matter of fact. You know what my Sunday morning was about today? Got out of bed and hopped in the car more or less right away and went over to Le Golf Club on Côte de Liesse and pounded balls for about an hour. Started around 7:30 in the morning. Yes, you are talking to a psycho. I was at the indoor golf simulator driving range at 7:30 this morning when it was minus 29 outside. Freaking freezing out there today. But we're starting to get a little bit more serious about golf season. Let's go. As Ryerson comments, we talk about Jakub Dobish today. Looked less skittery around the crease. That was nice. He definitely settled in. And I was really, really impressed with Jakub Dobish's game. And by and large, the Montreal Canadiens game too, because it was interesting, considering that they come out of the gate, they beat Ottawa, then they shut down Carolina. The Hurricanes, I think, had the Montreal flu. Because remember this, when Montreal shut out Carolina 4-0, were you aware that the Hurricanes were in Montreal Saturday night? They didn't play Montreal until Tuesday. Carolina played in Toronto, came to Montreal that night, stayed here Saturday night, was here all day Sunday, all day Monday, and then game day Tuesday, and didn't score a goal on game day in a 4-0 loss. We call that, my friends, the Montreal flu. But the fact that Jakub Dobish looked the way he did, having not played since the 5th of February with his level of experience, was incredible performance by Jakub Dobish. And the other little interesting tidbit was from practice this week, Martin St. Louis telling his guys during a drill to wake the F up. And so and I see it in the comments often enough, the Martin St. Louis haters, this man is fully bought in and fully engaged. I don't know who needs to hear that, but somebody needs to hear Martin St. Louis is the right coach at the right time for this team right now. Ricky Martin, Lane Hudson flying all night last night. Let me tell you, now that, the Calgary Flames have lost back-to-back and they remain a point out of the wild card race. I'm not so sure Calgary makes it, because the rookie of the year race, Lane Hudson, Macklin Celebrini, and Calgary goaltender Dustin Wolf, those are the three guys. Those are your Calder guys this year. And the odds makers have it, and I did not look today, so I don't know. Somebody take the time for me. Do me a favor. Somebody look at the Calder odds and let me know in the comments. When I looked earlier this week, Macklin Celebrini was the odds-on favorite, followed by Lane Hudson at like plus 300. Dustin Wolf, the goaltender for Calgary, odds on him to win the Rookie of the Year award were anywhere between plus 1,100 and plus 1,500. So, yeah, massive long shot odds. And whether it was Arpon Basu, Aaron Ward, Pierre LeBrun, Darren Dreger, opinions that really matter when it comes to projecting and talking about all things National Hockey League and the players in that league. And I think to a man, they were all, if Calgary makes the playoffs, Dustin Wolf is going to be your Rookie of the Year. Well, Calgary 1 point out from the playoff race as of right now, when we look at the way Lane Hudson has been playing. And as Ricky Martin points out, 48 was all over the ice last night in that 4-2 final. Lane Hudson and his 2 points in just under 22 minutes is on pace for 63 points this season. Lane Hudson is on pace for 63 points. He's on 46 right now through 60 games. So I think if we project, if the season ends today, I'm going to say it, Lane Hudson is your Rookie of the Year. If the season ended last night, Lane Hudson is your Rookie of the Year. As Peter Puck brings up, Buffalo going to hold players out for trades possibly on Monday. And again, understand what Elliot Friedman told us during the second intermission of last night's game. With Montreal being 3 points out of a wild card spot, I think we can expect Ken Hughes to hold on to assets a little bit longer. As Friedman alluded to the fact that teams like Montreal in the situation is where they are, that maybe teams like Montreal would be in that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday kind of window for ultimately deciding when and if they are actually going to make a move or not. So just trying to see here. Playoffs. So what's interesting, right? Because when I look at the odds to make the playoffs this year, okay, I just want to get this right for a second. Where's the Metro Division? According to the New York Islanders, see, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me that the New York Islanders, according to MoneyPuck.com, the New York Islanders, who are below the Canadiens in the standings, the Islanders have played 59 games. So the Islanders have a game in hand on the Canadiens. Canadiens have 63 points to the Islanders 61. Montreal's played 60 to the Islanders 59. Okay? The Islanders are back in action tomorrow when they play at the New York Rangers, and they're coming off a 7-4 win over the Nashville Predators, right? According to MoneyPuck.com, the odds for the Canadiens to make the playoffs sit at 12.6%. The New York Islanders, according to MoneyPuck.com, sit at 23.4%. That doesn't pass the smell test to me. So when I go to a website that I actually go to quite often, and I think is a go-to for hockey information and stats, is hockeyreference.com. And hockeyreference.com, in the aftermath of the Canadiens' win last night, have them at 16.7% chance to make the playoffs. And then we look down at the Metro Division and find the New York Islanders at 11.7%. So that seems a little bit more logistical in my head than moneypuck.com. Good morning, Norm Tap. Good to see you here. Exactly. So thank you, Morgan. Playoff status has the Habs a 23% chance to make the playoffs. I knew that was there was something definitely wrong there. A few people are putting that in the chat. So let's 24% chance of making the playoffs. So to me, just once again reaffirms and should reinforce the idea of, you want to move Jake Evans? Are you hungry for Jake Evans? Look how he's helping. And I understand he didn't, Jake Evans has dropped off in terms of everybody loved, and we knew this too. This was arguably one of the more predictable things this season. Everyone, Jake Evans. We all love Jake Evans when he's shooting at 30%. when he's shooting at 30%. Jake Evans is not shooting at 30% anymore. As we know now, it's like dropped down considerably. And when we saw his game last night, I mean, he is so good shorthanded, man. And I know he scored finally his first goal in a minute, played over 16 minutes yesterday. And it'll be good for his shooting percentage because I think Jake Evans had one shot and scored a goal. So his shooting percentage was 100. But I didn't think he was terrible last night. And I still believe, as somebody called me crazy, I still think the Canadiens can get a very good second-round pick for Jake Evans and maybe even more. Didier, good morning. Ride the wave, enjoy it while it lasts. Don't change the plan. Draft and develop. Blackwater Canyon. Now that, my friends, is a username. I was disappointed in Evans' game last night. He lost the puck multiple times, turned into a goal, major turnover chances for Buffalo. I would not re-sign him. The organization is smart enough. I don't think Blackwater Canyon. I'm going to give you username of the day today. I don't think the plan changes. I don't think right now the two sides are too far apart in terms of the ask and ultimately what they're going to get. And therefore, I don't think you need to stay up late at night wondering what are the Canadiens going to do with Jake Evans. I don't think there's going to be a re-sign there. I really don't. So yeah, we got lots going here. Charlottetown Spud, good morning. Good morning, my man from Charlottetown. Good to see you, brother. Sam Bennett is available as a UFA. So is Nikolai Ehlers, and the Montreal Canadiens are going to have money to spend. And Marco D'Amico from RG Media will be my guest this week on the program. So we're going to have content out on the daily in terms of the money the Canadiens will have and what we think they're ultimately going to do with it come the summer months. And a real chance here, because as we know, right? As we know now, it's been a couple of games where the Canadiens don't have Kirby Dach, and we learned that on Friday. Owen Beck has slid in there and has done decently. But here's the funny thing, that the Canadiens have tried, and the opportunity should present itself in a very real way this summer to go out and trade for and or look at restricted free agents as players that have proven themselves that are attractive to Montreal as potential options. And we spoke about this yesterday. Marc-Antoine Godin brought this up with Arpon Basu on their Notebook show. And they talked about, and Marc-Antoine Godin has been all over Bo Horvat of the New York Islanders for a minute. And he makes a lot of money, but that's the type of player, right? That's the type of player. So whether, you're talking like Morgan is here about Sam Bennett, other people have brought Sam Bennett's name into the fold before, whether you want more robustness on the wing in someone like Nikolai Ehlers. These are all the things. And as Charlottetown Spud says here, if Sam Bennett is available, you go and get him. And I think you're right. I think Canadian fans, by and large, were accepting of these reclamation projects. They looked at Kirby Dach and said, okay, smart move. I get it. I see the angle. Alex Newhook, I get it. I see the angle. But Alex Newhook, kind of is who he is. And Kirby Dach, the unfortunateness from the World Juniors through Chicago, through Montreal, and now 2 installments, has been hurt at every stop along his hockey journey. And I didn't have a problem with the reclamation. I didn't have a problem with the strategy. But I can tell you now, I'm good with the strategy. Time to try something else. Time to try seeing if a proven player that you can slot into your top 6, because isn't it crazy? Am I crazy? Or are we all crazy that we've been watching the Montreal Canadiens collectively for a really long time together? And they have not been capable of freaking figuring out the depth down the middle of this organization for what feels like the entirety of my life. And thank heavens the Canadiens were able to finagle Nick Suzuki out of Vegas. Thank goodness, because he is the best center that's played for the Montreal Canadiens in my lifetime. He is a number 1 center. Unfortunately, I think his lack of explosiveness prevents people from seeing him in a certain light. Yes, he's not Nathan McKinnon. He's not Connor McDavid. But he is a number 1 center. He sees the ice like a number one center. He changes the tempo like a number one center. And Cole Caulfield, and I think with a little bit more depth to this team, that if the Canadiens can go out and get, and I'll bring the point home here, thanks to Nick Suzuki, is do this guy a solid, man. Nick Suzuki is a veteran leader on your team. Do this guy a solid. Get him an experienced help to shore up the depth of the organization. No more experiments. No more. As we say good morning to Angela Esposito. Good morning. Happy Sunday, everybody. I love watching it grow, too. I'm blown away. I'm blown away. I'm blown away with how fast this channel has grown. And make sure you're with me Friday morning. We're going to do a live special draft show on Friday, and I'm going to do 5 giveaways on Friday as a huge thank you for getting me to 5,000 subs. And we've got a PXG Black Ops driver to give away. I have a TaylorMade Sim 2 driver to give away for free. And we've got the Sean Starr Show merchandise to give away. So you'll get your choice of the Snapback All Black, the Snapback Two-Tone, or the 11-ounce microwavable dishwasher safe. Good for the Shrek hands, those Shrek fingers, that you got a nice wide handle on your coffee mug. So those are the 5 giveaways. 2 drivers, 3 items from our merchandise shop will go to 5 lucky winners drawn at random Friday on this show. Very excited about that. And then when I get to the 10,000 marker, I will do 10 giveaways. Get 10 giveaways. Seb, can you believe we're only 3 points away from? I can't believe it. Considering how the team looked, going into the Four Nations break, and they dragged rotted corpses to the finish line. They didn't leap to the finish line, but look how they've come out. And this is honestly, I'm glad you brought this up, Seb. This is what makes me really optimistic about the future of the organization is when it's time to play games that matter. I find that this team more often than not has done an exceptional job of rising to the challenge. And I know that after the Canadiens were rattling off all these wins, and then they lost a big game on January 21st, and then more or less the shit hit the fan at that point on, when people started to talk about them. But what happened during the break? Is it not entirely possible that a bunch of these players, Juraj Slafkovsky, Nick Suzuki, Lane Hudson, were all reflecting on their own seasons, the years they were having? We can be better. And I have chosen to believe that the leadership group said we can be better. This is not the accepted standard. And they decided to do something about it. And now they have a season high 4 wins, looking to make it 5 when they host Buffalo on Monday night. And to me, that is enough reason to be optimistic that this group, the group that's in charge of getting the Canadiens back into relevance, are the right players that are in charge. I really do believe that, because they are forcing Ken Hughes and Jeff Gorton to whoa, okay, we can really be purposeful in our maneuvering here. We don't just simply have to make a trade to make a trade. You catch my drift? That's because the team has decided to go best case in the best case, worst case scenario. Worst case is they lose all 4 games, makes the job of Gorton and Hughes that much easier. Best case is they win 4 games in a row, and now what? You ask yourself, now what? When Ken Hughes wrapped up last night's 4-2 win, was there a likely shot that he thought to himself, okay, now what? We're 3 points out of a playoff spot, right? Interesting times. Very, very good. Very, very fun to see. Very, very fun to be a part of. 05, going to quickly blast all the Suzuki isn't a number 1 center fans. Dude is real, without question. Without question. Without question. Thank you, Morgan. You're damn right it is. Proud to be one, too. And we're not going anywhere. Did you hear all the boos at the WWE yesterday as John Cena shook the wrestling world by its ankles? upside down, turning heel. Turning heel. Rod Langway. Yes, Rod, we do ship worldwide, baby. The Sean Starr Show ships worldwide. So our boy Rod Langway here, the president of the Rod Langway fan club, who resides in Taipei, right? And yes, you can place your order at the Sean Starr Show. You want a all black snapback, you want an 11-ounce ceramic mug, or you want this bad boy here. We got the two-tone Sean Starr snapback hat, one size fits all. I wore this to golf today. I wore this to hit balls at 7:30 this morning. So yeah, we ship worldwide, baby. Just head over to this website right here, and you can find it in front of your screen. It's theshawnstarshow.com, and it brings you to this website. You click shop all, and then you can see here our beautiful mugs, stylish, your snapback hats. Look at this embroidery. That's why they're, I see some hats on other sites, they're $19, $20. Shipping and taxes are included in the price. So it's just the one price model, right? So you see, yeah, it's $41, but the shipping and the taxes are all included in it. So you go back on my channel on my live show I did yesterday. I more or less at the end, if you go to the live show I did on Saturday, go towards the end of the episode. And if you're interested, I don't give a shit, go or don't go. I explained the pricing, and I more or less was fully transparent with how much things cost versus what I'm selling them for. All that to say, nobody's getting rich here. Daniel Thornton, excuse me. Do you find Dobish has a difficult time tracking wraparounds? Great observation. Great observation. And as Morgan chimes in here by saying chippy game last night, going to be some fights tomorrow on Monday. I could totally see that. And you're right. I find Dobish in his last couple of starts, 2 or 3 anyway, I find he looks nervous, more nervous now than he was when we saw him against Florida when he made his NHL debut and shut down the Panthers in a 4-0 final. But yes, tracking pucks. But you know what offsets that for me, Daniel and everybody else, as we talk Jakub Dobish here, is his rebound control is, I think, a million times better than Sam Montembeault's. That is, I think, his puck tracking, Dobish's puck tracking and rebound control is the best on the team currently. I don't think he's better than Sam Montembeault in all facets of the goaltending position. And I was kind of, I'll be honest, I was surprised they went with him in Buffalo last night, but ends up being the right call. But ultimately, you can see the makings of an NHL goaltender with Jakub Dobish. Like I think he's mentally strong. I think he's a battler. And like I just said, I think his rebound control is exceptional, and so is his puck tracking. There were times where Buffalo, as Morgan points out here, chippy game. It seemed like every time there was a whistle in front of a net, there was gloves in the face, punches being thrown, shoves back and forth, which I love. I love that kind of hockey personally. I love to be playing in games like that. That's my style. But I love how he doesn't give the opposition many looks, right? I think it's definitely a strength to his game. Good morning, Sylph. Good to see you. Good to see you. Could see some fireworks on Monday. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. Let's go, man. Henny, what's up? What's up? Stars fan here. When do the Stars lift the cup? When the Canadiens do against the juggernaut of a team? I don't know. I like the Dallas Stars, though. The Dallas Stars, to me, are the model organization. They draft really well. I find that from my perspective here, I don't pay a lot of attention to the Dallas Stars. But from my distant perspective, they are a wagon. They are a very, very smart team. They've got great goaltending. They've got stars. They've got pillars on defense. And like I said, they draft well. I like the Dallas Stars. So good on you, Henny. You've got a good team to cheer for there. Every season, I get it. It's fun. It's fun. It's fun to be a fan, right? It's fun to be a fan. Everybody likes that very much. Well, welcome, Matthew. Matthew, proud member of the Sean Starr Show. Nice to see you part of the family, brother. Dobish proving to be a very solid backup, says Matthew. Winning streak is exactly what everybody loves. It's fun. Ricky Martin says it's 80 degrees. Are you sure you got your temperature? Ricky, brother, 80 degrees. What's let me see. Minus 19 Celsius. I still don't know how to do the Fahrenheit. So right now, Ricky, It is -2 Fahrenheit where I am today. So screw you. I wish it was 80 degrees here. If Struble is finding his game, or is this just the Hudson bounce a la vintage Markov, Mike Komisarek style? And for people that have been listening to me on TSN 690 or watch me regularly here on YouTube with our live shows Saturday and Sundays at 10, at 9:30, excuse me, I'm a big Struble guy. I've been a Struble guy for a minute. The type of player the Canadians need more of, and hopefully for him, that he can show enough that he's not going to be, how do I put this? They're not going to be chumming the waters with Jaden Struble. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not going to be showcasing him for other teams, because I think the Canadians that's the type of player they need. Like, if we go back to the COVID years and the Canadians won the Western Conference, right? And went to the Stanley Cup final and lost to Tampa Bay in 5 games. I understand there were layers to their success when they beat Toronto and they beat Winnipeg and then they beat Vegas. There were layers to those series victories, right? At the heart of it, though, was Shea Weber. At the heart of that was a guy like Carey Price and Phil Deneau, right? And there were a lot of outside influences there too, but I just want to focus on those guys. So you had a really good, smart, two-way center. You had a Hall of Fame goaltender, and you had a Hall of Fame pillar on defense. So it's going to be very difficult to get back to achieving 2/3 of those, right? I don't know if you're going to have a Hall of Fame goaltender, maybe Jacob Fowler. Who knows? Don't want to put too much pressure on the guy, right? Do you have a Hall of Fame pillar on defense, right? Looks like Lane Hudson might be an annual Calder Norris candidate, right? The way he plays, the points he puts up, and the way he sees the ice, right? But he's not Shea Weber in terms of other intangibles that Weber brought, in particular the physicality. And we could talk about how tough the Canadians were to play against in those playoff rounds, because they were nasty. And that just, to me, is why I like Jaden Struble. And I'm not saying Jaden Struble is Shea Weber, obviously not. But the point I'm trying to make here is the physicality on the back end of the Montreal Canadiens isn't enough, in my opinion. And if you want to do well in the playoffs, the most valuable real estate on any ice surface in a competitive hockey game is that space in front of the net, just outside of the blue paint, right around the dots in the faceoff circle. That is the most valuable piece of real estate on any competitive ice surface. How do you protect your house? That's the goal. How do you protect that space? And if you want to come in that space, you are going to pay a price. I think Jaden Struble can help protect that space. And they need players like that, as far as I'm concerned. As 05 says here, Matvei Michkov may have played himself right back in it too when we talked earlier about rookies of the year, when we talk about Dustin Wolf and where Calgary is a point out of the playoff picture today. And Lane Hudson and Macklin Celebrini, I think with a game like last night, there's a chance right here, right now, that Lane Hudson has separated himself a little bit from those guys. But I maintain, if Dustin Wolf can help backstop Calgary to a playoff spot, if Calgary gets in, a rookie goaltender taking this Flames team to a playoff spot, I think that's the Calder. But he's got to get into playoffs. If Calgary does not get in the playoffs, I still lean on Lane Hudson to win Rookie of the Year. As Zeph says, we will win. We're not going to win. I'm sure that's what he wanted to say. I still prefer to get another top 5 to 10 pick last year and continue from there. Canadians are closer to a playoff spot today than they have been all week. And their point percentage, it's amazing the work that they've done, that a 4-game winning streak can take you from about a 5% chance of making the playoffs to about 24%. The Canadians have a 24% chance to make the playoffs. Martin St. Louis gives Arbor tough love at times, but he needs it at times. And that's a money point. You know, Arbor Jack, I spoke about this when he was glued to the bench in the third period the other night. Like, he made a couple of defensive mistakes. And you know what I like about that? There are 2 things I really like about this. One is you've moved the goalposts, that the standard and the expectation today wasn't the same at the beginning of the season. And that's exactly what you want to see from a team that's rebuilding, taking the next steps, right? Is accountability, that making fundamental brain dead mistakes is not good enough anymore. We have higher expectations, is likely what the coaching staff is telling players. And when you make fundamental mistakes, like you forgot your brain on the bench when your body went out on the ice, you get glued to the bench. I like that standard. And you know what? The other part to me that I really like is it was communicated to Arbor Jacki what the problems were that resulted in minimized ice time. And he talked about how they have a philosophy now that if one guy's going, he keeps going. And if another guy's having an off night, then he just doesn't get the ice time anymore. And that to me is sunny days, bright skies, and rainbows of great news. There is a standard. There is a culture. We talk about it regularly. They want to instill a culture, winning habits, all that stuff. And how do you do that? You do that by having consequences. That if you're not good enough, if you're not engaged, or if your intensity doesn't match the level that we need it to be at, the consequence is you're not going to play. And we're talking about a team making progress, making strides in the right direction. This is not a consequence-free zone. And Martin St. Louis, I think, has done an unbelievable job. Peter Puck updating us on the Calder odds today. Macklin Celebrini. So you see, when I checked in on maybe Tuesday or Wednesday this week, Celebrini was minus 330. Lane Hudson plus 450. Matvei Michkov plus 600. Where's Dustin Wolf? Peter, get me Dustin Wolf odds. As Sylph suggests, Hudson definitely deserves the Calder. After what I've seen again yesterday, no way he is not the front runner. Will he get it? I don't know. It may be political in the end. Naz 26, Macklin Celebrini is 18 from start to finish of the season. If he gets close to 30 and 70 points, Celebrini wins the Calder. Not if Dustin Wolf gets the Calgary Flames into the playoffs, brother. Yes, conservative lawyer, I'm with you. It'd be nice to see Lane Hudson get rewarded. Let's see. Anthony in Greenfield Park. Sean Starr. Since Mitch Garber. I love Mitch Garber. He was I'm a huge, huge fan of Mitch Garber. An incredibly smart individual. I wish I had 1% of his business acumen. Any concerns that Lane Hudson has shown absolutely zero defensive zone improvement at all this season? I can we say that though? Seriously? I think he's made Jaden Struble a better player. I think even the advanced stats have suggested that Lane Hudson has helped improve Jaden Struble. So I think it's a collaborative effort. It's a collaborative effort. Morning, Sean. Congrats on the 5,000 subs. Thank you so much. Don't forget, we will be doing a live show on Friday, March 7th, NHL Draft Day, and we will do 5 giveaways, one for every 1,000 subs we have achieved so far on this platform. So 5 giveaways to celebrate 5,000 subs to this channel coming up on Friday's live show this week. Mark says, I heard your take on the time is now to make a trade to help the squad on the last pod. I know we're tired of this approach, but patience is a virtue. The team isn't ready to stay the course. But yeah, I understand what you're saying, Mark. And also, like when we talk about making a trade, I think we're more inclined to make those deals when we talk about in order to help this squad. It's more from, in my opinion, the summer months where the Canadiens, if you need to be reminded, let me take a second to remind you that Jeff Petrie and Jake Allen's money come off the books this summer. That's going to free up about $4.5 million. Then the Canadiens have the cap going up, and they're going to have about $14 million. And if they want to stash Carey Price's contract, then we're talking about $24 million, $25 million in money to spend around. And I know they've got Lane Hudson contract that they're probably going to want to do. Juraj Slafkovsky's extension starts next season. So I know some of those freed up monies are already being occupied, but they're going to have a lot of money to spend. And they got picks. They've got multiple first-round picks, and they've got a bunch of draft picks. So when I talk about ways to improve this squad, to me, when this team went 13-3-1 over 7 games, what they've shown in reaching a new winning streak this season after beating Buffalo to get to 4 consecutive wins, that the nucleus of this team, the core of this team, should be rewarded with better players, proven players, especially because I do believe this. I do believe that if they can get a legitimate second line center to play behind Nick Suzuki, someone that has proven himself in the NHL, and it's not a reclamation project, I think the addition of that player will make Nick Suzuki that much better. So, yes, I do believe. I don't agree right now the team isn't ready. Stay the course. Staying the course is incremental improvements. I'm not talking about seismic shifts. Yeah, if Mitch Marner puts his hand up and says, I want to come here, or Mikko Rantanen wants to come here, that would be a seismic shift, and that would be a completely different talking point. But the Canadiens have leverage in many different ways. See, here's one. Charlottetown Spud, thank you. Sam Bennett, available, you go get him. You go get him. Lots of comments today. Thank you so much for all these comments. Evan demanding, yeah, we spoke about this. Evan's demanding 5 years, 20 million. Yeah, not happening. Not happening here, as many have pointed out. Bad giveaway, costing the Canadiens a goal. And I personally believe that as Jake Evans gets closer to redefining his future, like everybody else, right? Like he's human, and the pressure of what's next, the pressure of maybe he gets traded, goes to a different team. What's that going to be like? The only world he's known is the Montreal Canadiens. So, is it plausible? For sure, it is. That there's something going on where Jake Evans is gripping things a little too tightly, knowing that everyone's watching him and he's trying to set himself up in terms of generational wealth, trying to secure the bag, as the kids like to say. As Dave Law suggests here, I like Owen Beck. I think we all do. We need some size and grit down the middle. Thank you, Dave. And ultimately, I don't disagree. And I think, like we saw Jake Evans last year when the Canes were dealing with all those injuries and everything else, that Jake Evans was punching above his weight class and doing okay. But in terms of sustainability, in terms of it being, oh man, this guy can do the job, it's too much to ask. And I think Owen Beck, in the here and now, with his exceptionally small sample size at the NHL level that we have to work off of, that, Owen Beck, as Dave Laws points out here, is maybe not cut out to be the understudy to Nick Suzuki to build off of. I think we're looking at Owen Beck probably in his perfect world when he finds his groove and reaches that level of comfort where he believes he's an NHLer and belongs in the NHL. When that moment kicks off in his brain, I think we're talking about Owen Beck as the third line center of the Montreal Canadiens in a perfect world. I mean, that's ultimately what you want it to be, right? Like when you look across the table, like you want good, responsible players in your bottom six, and you want good high-end hockey IQ players, certainly your top two centers on this team, right? That's ultimately, I think, what you're trying to grow here. So Canadiens have reached the point where they're ready. They're ready to, I think, understand what Elliot Friedman was talking about yesterday, that teams positioned like the Montreal Canadiens are probably going to be waiting a little bit longer. I think the 4-game winning streak has also maybe allowed Ken Hughes to relax for a second and let the offers start to come to him, right? Because they're 3 points out of a playoff spot. Thank you, Peter, for always encouraging people to hit that like button. It definitely helps, no doubt. Peter wants to talk about Patrick Laine, I think. Yep. We need to talk about Patty Laine. After 4 Nations, his NHL speed is coming back a little bit on 5-on-5. And like that, to me, that's everything. His setup to Cole Caulfield to get the Canadiens party started. Cole Caulfield with his 29th of the year. Did you know Cole Caulfield has the second most away goals of anybody in the National Hockey League? Only Leon Draisaitl has more. Caulfield's got 20 road goals this season. Incredible player. But yeah, I saw better pace, to Peter's point here. I saw better pace from Patrick Laine, and that feed to Cole Caulfield. That was nice to watch, and the nice opportunity to bury that. 16 likes, says Seb. I guess we could do a little bit better. Thank you very much. We're up to 256. Some good numbers. DNL says, I'm all for selling. Forget the mix. Best case, first round exit. We need tools for the real future and run a cup. Let me tell you something right now, and I mean this. If the Montreal Canadiens get into the playoffs, I don't give a shit if they get out in the first round. Full stop. I do not care. If they make the playoffs this year, man, I am all in. I am all for it. I don't think it changes anything. As a matter of fact, you know what? It does change. Let me correct myself. It does change. It makes me think this team is a lot better than what I actually think they are. I don't think if the Canadiens find their way into the playoffs this year, I don't think there's anything fluky about it. There's nothing fluky about it. They're not getting goaltending that's good enough to be fluky, as far as I'm concerned. Nick Suzuki is having a nice start to his Four Nations break. Cole Caulfield is on an absolute heater. Patrick Laine involved. Good defense, good stability from the Hudson-Struble pairing. Mike Matheson minimizing the mistakes. So, to me, 3 points out of a playoff spot, I don't see anything fluky, fugazi about the Canadiens making the playoffs in this hypothetical. 24% chance to make the playoffs this year. The Canadiens are 3 points back. Good morning, Salil. Proud member of the Sean Star Show. Thank you. I think Hughes will pull off a trade none of us predicted, acquiring assets that can be part of our future for a while. Listen, from your lips, Salil, man, do I hope that something like that happens. This market would go cuckoo bananas if he does something that we don't see coming. Personally, I'll do my best to predict the future. I think Jake Evans is as good as gone. As good as gone. Thank you, Dave. You can order yours right here at theshawnstarshow.com with free delivery in Canada and taxes and shipping all included into the price. So, yeah, we're rocking and rolling. So are the Laval Rocket. They're going to be stacked for a playoff ride. And that reminds me to remind you, get ready and don't panic too much. Because you're going to see some paper moves. The Canadiens play on Monday against Buffalo, and then they're off up until Thursday night at Edmonton. They play at the Oilers 9 p.m. Thursday night. And so you can expect the Montreal Canadiens to do what we call paper moves. In order to qualify and be eligible to play in the AHL playoffs, you have to be on the AHL roster before their trade deadline. And so the fact being, Canadiens don't play on Friday, deadline day. I will have my live show here. We will cover all the trades as they happen live on this show. So set your notifications to join me live on Friday. We will also do our 5 giveaways to celebrate 5,000 subs also on Friday. The other thing you can expect on Friday is paper moves. They're going to paper Owen Beck and Jakub Dobeš. I'm not entirely sure if Emil Heineman can be papered. And by papered, I mean they will be on paper sent to Laval. They will technically be AHL players and then get called back up. So it will allow certainly Beck and Dobeš to be a part of the Laval Rocket playoff run. And then they will finish their years in Montreal. And then when the Canadiens, if they miss the playoffs, they'll go report to Laval. And the rest, as they say, is history. I'm not entirely sure today if Emil Heineman is allowed to be papered. Owen Beck can and will be. That's an expectation. So will Jakub Dobeš. I'm not sure if Emil Heineman is. I'll definitely look that up this week and find out an answer for you, no doubt. Santo Domingo heading to Juan Dolio after the live stream. Congratulations. I'm going to go under the blankets after the live stream and do some laundry. Someone is living a much better life, no doubt. Steph Howard, if everything is up for grabs to win on Friday, then either I want Hank or Costco eggs. Oh, hanky panky. Hanky is not part of the giveaway on Friday. We've got 2 drivers, right-handed drivers, and we've got merch from the SeanStarShow.com to give away. Thank you. Maybe a little love for Newhook. Game-winning goal last night. Game-tying goal versus San Jose. Good on you. Definitely showing a little bit more engagement, isn't he? Do you have a hot take on what player that would most be possible in terms of untouchable could be part of a big trade in the near future? Yeah, Cole Caulfield. How about that? Like, if you really want, I think that's what you're asking. Do I have a hot take on what player that most would see as a possible untouchable that might be a part of a big trade in the near future? Absolutely. So my hot take would be, and as much as I don't like it, I would think that the hot take, to answer your question directly, my man, is Cole Caulfield to the New York Islanders for Noah Dobson. That would be it right there. If we're talking hot take, I think Cole Caulfield is a leader. I think Cole Caulfield is one of those untouchable type players, by and large, most of us, right? Like, maybe not everybody was alive to see Steve Shutt scoring all these goals and Guy Lafleur scoring all these goals. And so when I look at Cole Caulfield, he's the best goal scorer I've seen on the Montreal Canadiens, and he's on 29 goals. I think Cole Caulfield's got a 50-goal season in him with everything being right. And I think if you want someone like Noah Dobson, somebody who plays 24 to 26 minutes, who puts up massive points, who's a legitimate first pair right side defenseman, if you want that guy from the New York Islanders, you got to give up. And if you're going to give up, I think Cole Caulfield would be that guy. So you want my hot take, an untouchable, and part of a big trade, Cole Caulfield for Noah Dobson. Now that would be fun. Now that, my friends, would be fun. Peter Puck says, if Martin St. Louis didn't care about Arbor, just bench him. Marty knows what Arbor has, and he's trying to pull it out of him. That's awesome. Good coach. He's a good coach who understands his players. Good morning, Adam. Good to see you here. Rod Langway says, if Hudson is snubbed, the team will save money on the next contract. Lane will be even hungrier. Let me tell you something. Lane Hudson's going to get the bag. I think the team is already blown away by what this guy has done. I don't think Lane Hudson winning the Calder or getting snubbed for the Calder changes the outlook on the Montreal Canadiens. Dustin Wolf plus 2,500 now to win the Calder. The Calgary Flames are 1 point out of a playoff spot. 1 point out of a playoff spot. Incredible stuff. We got 253 people watching right now. Let's go. Good numbers all weekend long. Thank you so much for being a part of this live stream as we get closer. Don't forget, I'll remind you again that I will have my live show on Friday this week as we react to all the trades on trade deadline day. Marco D'Amico will be my guest this week as we talk about how we think the Canadian season will end. And ultimately, they're going to have some money to spend. How do they do this? Playoffs is a new season. Anything can happen. Remember 2021. Listen, you got to get there first, baby. 24% chance. Sean, are you saying Friday draft day? It's deadline day. My apologies if I misspoke. Yes, Alfred and others, my apologies. I mean deadline day. Deadline day. Trade deadline day on Friday. I will be here with a live show to react to all the trades. And then, of course, there goes Hank. And then, of course, doing our giveaways today. I spent too much time listening to Sean and Tony and company, which is also sick too. Tony and a sick podcast. They do live shows, I believe, all the time. They got Pierre Maguire there too. Mr. Niles, I'm all in for Horvat now. Suzuki, Horvat, Beck, Davidson is legit now, dude. That is a dream scenario. I don't know why Hank's going crazy here, but yeah. You wanted a hot take? That's a hot take, my friend. Salil, what's your handicap, Sean? How many strokes are you giving an 11.2 handicap golfer? I have my phone here. I'll do this live exercise with you right now. So I'll show you here. Let's see if I could pull it up. Golf Canada. I have my Golf Canada app, my profile. So here we go here. So I don't know. Can you see that? Is that showing up on the screen? So my index is 2.1. My index is 2.1. And that means that basically, why is it? Here we go. So that means I'm a 3 handicap. Salil says he's an 11.2. So I can put 11.2 into my system. And so Salil at my golf course, Kanawaki Golf Club, Salil would be a 14 handicap. So yeah, I'm going to give you 11 shots. I'll give you 11 shots. Does that sound good to you? Yeah, I got some love for Riche when I talk about Cole Caulfield being the best goal scorer. Like, I saw Riche's 50-goal seasons. I saw them. Cole Caulfield to me is more exciting. And I think more sustainable. I think he's going to do it for longer. I know what you meant, brother. Don't worry. It's all good. And that was the thing too. Like, it's been this like this irritant for me when I talk about Stefan Richer, last 50 guy, Mats Naslin, last 100 point guy. It's like, I'm ready for new history. I'm ready for some new history. I'm ready for some of these guys to start getting to go here. Like I want Cole Caulfield to be the new guy. I love Ivan Demidov next year to drop 100 points. We are 18 from 100. You can make a difference. So yeah, we got as I predicted, Flames would tank top 5 draft pick. Boy, was I wrong. I mean, listen, we may find out. We may find out what's going on here. Yeah, you're on, brother. Listen, I need Salil. Let me tell you, brother. We're going to be doing some golf. We will be doing some golf. I don't know how many people I'm going to lose, but here's the plan, and then I'll let you go off this. So the plan moving forward, once the season ends, and I think we're going to be doing Canadiens content. We're going to be doing Canadiens content into the summer months, right? Like obviously we have the end of the season, the recap, draft, free agency. So we have a lot of Canadiens content still to do on this channel. But once that more or less dries up, we are going to move into the golf space. And the idea I have, and I've already reached out, a production team reached out to me, and we've communicated a couple of times that I think what I'm going to do is go on a golf course, have me and 3 friends, we're going to be mic'd up, and we're going to probably do a 9-hole challenge. So whether it's like I'm giving these guys a bunch of shots and they got to beat me, it'll be 3 against 1, whatever the mechanism is going to be. But that's what you can expect later this year in the summer. So we have that to look forward to. So if you're a golf fan, hopefully that moves the needle for you, and we'll try to see what we could do and then get ready for a full Canadian season in the fall. So thank you for being with me all Sunday morning long. I hope I wasn't as repetitive today. I hope I was tighter today. As again, this is just an ongoing. I read your comments. I try to engage with your comments as often as possible. Thank you for joining me today, spending some of your Sunday with me. Enjoy your families. Stay warm. And look forward to more stuff all week as we rev up for trade deadline day with me and Marco D'Amico starting tomorrow on the Sean Starr Show with new content out at 10 in the morning tomorrow morning. And then our Friday live show to react to everything that's going on for trade deadline day on Friday's live show, including our 5 giveaways to celebrate 5,000 subs. So thank you, everybody, once again. Enjoy your families. Enjoy your friends. Have a great Sunday, and we'll see you tomorrow. Oh. Who are you barking at? 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 Hey? Who? What? What are you doing? Oh. What? Oh.